Nobody came to my graduation in software engineering. My dad said that was for boys, not girls. 2 weeks later, when I landed a great job in a giant tech company, my mom said my sister needed help finding a job. I answered, "Actually, my office was looking for someone, just not her. My name's Ashley. I'm 24, freshly graduated, and apparently the overachiever no one asked for. I grew up in a quiet suburb outside Chicago, in one of those upper-middle-class neighborhoods where every house looks perfectly put together on the outside, and everything quietly cracks underneath. My parents weren't cruel, not in the obvious way. They paid for my sister's private tutoring, came to her piano recitals, posted her pictures on Facebook. They said they were proud of both of us, but the difference was always clear. She was the one they showed off. I was the one they relied on. Veronica, my younger sister, was the golden child. She was charming, photogenic, and endlessly praised. I was the responsible one. The "you'll make it on your own" child, the one they didn't worry about, and so they didn't show up for. That's why, on graduation day, when my name was called and the applause echoed across the auditorium, I scanned the crowd for my family and saw empty seats. 3 of them. Right there in the middle section, where I had reserved their spots. I stood on that stage, cap slipping, hands shaking, smiling for the camera of a stranger because I didn't have one of my own. When I walked out of the building, other students were being pulled into hugs, flowers pressed into their hands, their families crying and laughing at once. I clutched my diploma against my chest and kept walking, pretending I was in a hurry. Back home, my mom sent a text, not a call, just a message. "Sorry we couldn't make it, honey. Veronica had an interview today, and your father didn't want her to drive alone." I stared at that message for a long time, then turned my phone face down. I had learned early that love in our house came with conditions. Love for me was quiet and practical. "We're proud of you, Ashley, but you'll understand when you have kids of your own." Love for Veronica was loud, unconditional, and public. That's our girl. That night, I celebrated by ordering takeout and watching a movie I didn't really watch. My apartment was silent except for the sound of my microwave beeping. And yet, beneath the disappointment, there was a small fire still burning inside me, the same one that had kept me studying through every late-night coding session, every exam, every time my dad said, "You should have picked something easier." I didn't have their approval. But I had my independence. And soon, I'd have something they couldn't ignore: success. 2 weeks later, my phone rang. It was my mom. Her voice was bright, almost too cheerful. "Veronica needs help finding a job. Can you see what you can do?" I swallowed, staring at my diploma still sitting on the kitchen counter. I answered, "Actually, my office is looking for someone, just not her." A pause, then a sharp inhale, then her voice, rising. "Ashley, you have to help. She's struggling. You're her sister. Family comes first." I blinked. Family comes first. Funny. Family had never come first for me. I had spent the last 4 years working 3 jobs to pay for tuition. I had built my own projects, debugged endless lines of code, survived sleepless nights and impossible deadlines. And yet, here I was being told to bend my career, my hard-earned opportunities, to fit someone else's convenience. I stayed calm. "Mom," Veronica applied. "Human resources will review her application. That's it. The rest is up to her qualifications." Her voice dropped, disappointed, sharp. "You're being selfish. You should help family. You've changed." I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply said, "I'm being professional." Click. She hung up. I set the phone down and stared at my laptop. Emails, project documentation, cloud tech, my new life, my independence. A strange lightness spread through me. Refusing to play their game had lifted a weight I hadn't realized I'd been carrying. They wanted me to leverage my success for them, while never acknowledging the struggle it had taken to get there. I was done seeking approval. Done trying to earn pride that had never been offered. The next 2 months blurred together. 60-hour weeks. Meetings with developers, database administrators, and network engineers. I learned more in 8 weeks than I had in 4 years of university. Patricia, my manager, gave me more responsibility leading client calls, making technical decisions that affected millions in infrastructure. The client loved our work. Diane, the CTO from the pharmaceutical company, singled me out for praise. Your project management and communication skills made this migration seamless. We trusted you. Patricia smiled knowingly, passing the compliment along. You're exceeding expectations, and this is just the beginning of your career. I went home that night, exhausted but alive. No calls from my parents. No messages from Veronica. Silence. And for the first time in my life, I realized something. I had built a life that had nothing to do with my family. My coworkers became my social circle. Patricia became a mentor. I was learning who I could be, without their shadow looming over me. Then, in late July, everything changed. Patricia called me into her office. She was smiling, which usually meant good news. Sit down. Close the door. My heart raced. Promotion? Raise? New project? The pharmaceutical project was a massive success, she said. The client referred Cloud Tech to 3 other companies. Executives noticed. They want to recognize the people responsible. And that means you, Director of Enterprise Implementation. $135,000 plus equity and bonuses. Responsibility for client projects. A team of implementation specialists, reporting directly to the VP of Operations. I sat frozen. 3 months. 26 years old. Director. Patricia laughed at my expression. Yes, really. You've proven yourself capable. Executives unanimously agree you're the right choice. I walked out of her office, dazed, staring at my computer screen. I had worked so hard, expected nothing but small gains. And now, I was a director. Twice the salary I imagined at this stage. Leading teams, shaping strategy, exceeding every expectation my family had ever set for me. My first instinct, call them, share the news, finally earn their praise. I didn't. Instead, I called Julia, my college roommate, who screamed so loudly I had to hold the phone away from my ear. I called my favorite professor, who said he'd always known I would do extraordinary things. I texted coworkers they insisted on taking me out for dinner. That night, surrounded by people who truly cared about me, I understood. I had spent years chasing the wrong validation. My family had never valued what I could do. But I had found people who did. I had built something real, something mine. And for the first time, the emptiness I had felt at graduation disappeared. Pride, confidence, self-respect. I didn't need their approval anymore. It started with a Facebook post. I hadn't told anyone in my family about my promotion, but CloudTech's PR team had posted a photo from the company page, a group shot of our project leads at a tech summit. I was standing in the center. Blazer, badge, name tag, Ashley Reed, Director of Enterprise Implementation. The caption read, "Celebrating the young leaders shaping CloudTech's future. Congratulations to our newest director, Ashley Reed." Within hours, the likes rolled in. Co-workers, old classmates, even professors. And, apparently, my mother. Because that night, she called. "Ashley, oh my goodness, we saw your photo. Director? Is that true?" Her voice sounded thrilled, but it wasn't pride, it was surprise. Like I'd done something impressive by accident. "Yes," I said simply. "It's been a busy few months." "That's amazing," she said quickly. "Your dad couldn't believe it, and Veronica's so inspired. She says she wants to work in tech now too." I felt my chest tighten. There it was, the hook, the reason behind the call. "She's applying for internships this summer," my mom continued, voice lilting. "Wouldn't it be lovely if she could work under you? Family, helping family." I stared at the phone. My mom sounded excited genuinely, effortlessly excited in a way she never had for my own milestones. And now that excitement was tied to Veronica. Again. "Mom," I said slowly, "CloudTech doesn't do nepotism. Everyone earns their place here." "Oh, come on," she laughed, like I was being silly. "It's not nepotism, it's guidance. You'd be helping your sister the way family's supposed to." The word family used to make me feel guilty. Now, it just made me tired. "She can apply through the regular portal," I said. "If she's qualified, HR will see it." Silence. Then, sharper. You think you're better than us now, don't you? The tone hit like a slap, familiar, practiced. The same tone that used to make me apologize for things that weren't wrong. No, I said evenly. I just think everyone should earn their own opportunities. You've changed, she said. Success shouldn't make you cold. I wanted to tell her that success hadn't made me cold, disappointment had. That years of silence and comparison had hardened me far more than a job title ever could. But I didn't. Instead, I said, I'm sorry you feel that way, Mom. I have to go early meeting tomorrow. Fine, she said. We'll talk later. Click. The next week, I got an email from HR. Veronica Reed summer internship application referred by parent connection. I froze. Apparently my mother had filled out the application herself and put my name under reference. My phone buzzed a minute later. A text from my mom. Just a heads up, I used your name so they'd prioritize it. Don't worry, you won't have to do anything. I closed my eyes, trying to breathe. I had worked years to be respected for my ability, not my last name. And now my mother was trying to use mine as a stepping stone for someone else. I walked into HR the next morning and asked them to remove my name from the referral. The coordinator looked uncomfortable. Oh, she's your sister? Yes, and I'd like her application to be treated like anyone else's. The coordinator nodded. Understood. As I walked out, Patricia, my manager, stopped me in the hallway. Everything okay? She asked. I hesitated, then told her the truth. Patricia listened quietly, arms folded. When I finished, she said something that stuck with me. You don't owe anyone access to your success. Especially not people who ignored the work it took to get there. That night, I sat at my kitchen counter with a cup of coffee, staring at my phone. No missed calls, no texts, just silence. I should have felt guilty. I didn't. Instead, I felt something different, clarity. Boundaries didn't make me cruel. They made me free. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't the quiet, overlooked daughter anymore. I was the woman drawing her own line. It had been 3 months since the internship incident. 3 months of silence. No calls, no texts, not even a birthday message. And then, one Friday night, as I was finishing a project report at my apartment, my phone buzzed. Mom, for a second, I thought about ignoring it, but curiosity got the better of me. Ashley, she said brightly. It's been so long. How are you, sweetheart? Her voice was sweet in that practiced way, the same tone she used when she wanted something. I'm fine, I said, busy with work. Of course you are, she laughed. Our little genius. Anyway, we were just talking about you the other day. Your father and I thought it would be nice to have a family dinner this weekend. Just us. It's been ages. Family dinner. That phrase used to mean Sunday arguments disguised as meals. Now, it sounded like an invitation to step back into a world I'd already outgrown. When? I asked carefully. Saturday evening. Veronica will be home from her internship. She's been working at a small marketing firm downtown. You can share your work stories too. Her tone carried a brightness that didn't sound natural. It sounded rehearsed. Still, I hesitated. Something inside me wanted to decline to protect my peace. But another part, quieter and older, whispered, maybe they've changed. Maybe they finally want to see you. So I said yes. Saturday arrived cold and gray, the kind of Chicago evening that makes the air feel heavy. I drove to my parents' house for the first time in months. Everything looked exactly the same, the perfect lawn, the spotless porch, the house that always looked like it belonged to someone else. When my mom opened the door, she hugged me like she was auditioning for forgiveness. You look so professional, she said, stepping back to study me. That coat is so elegant. Is it expensive? It's just a coat, I said lightly. She laughed, brushing it off. Dad appeared from the living room, smiling politely. Director Reed, he said, almost teasing. We saw your company mentioned in the papers last month. Big project win? Yes, I said. We landed a federal contract. That's impressive. He cleared his throat. Good for you. It was the first compliment I'd heard from him since middle school. And somehow, it didn't sound like one. At dinner, the conversation flowed. Or rather, it was managed by my mother like a PR campaign. She asked questions about cloud tech, about my apartment, about the tech scene. She even bragged a little. "Our daughter's a director now," she said proudly. "Can you imagine? She's doing so well." For a moment, I almost believed it that maybe this was genuine, that maybe they finally saw me. Then Veronica spoke. "Actually, that's kind of what we wanted to talk about." The air shifted. She smiled, perfectly casual. "My company's launching a joint initiative with Cloud Tech. They're trying to connect marketing analytics with AI data modeling. Mom said you might help me get a meeting with your leadership team." And there it was. The reason for the dinner. Mom placed a hand over Veronica's and smiled sweetly at me. "It's such a small thing for you, but it would mean the world to her." I set my fork down, steadying my voice. "If her company wants to partner, they can contact our business development office. There's a process for that. Mom, my company doesn't do favors, and I don't either." The table went quiet. Dad looked uncomfortable. Veronica's smile faltered. "You've really changed," she said softly. "You used to be so kind." "I'm still kind," I said. "I'm just no longer available for manipulation." No one spoke after that. The rest of dinner passed in a polite, chilly silence, silverware clinking against porcelain, small talk stretched thin. When it ended, my mom hugged me at the door. It felt more like damage control than affection. "We're just trying to stay connected, Ashley. Don't shut us out." "Then stop treating me like a resource," I said quietly. "Start treating me like a person." She didn't reply. I got into my car and sat there for a long time before turning the key. The house lights glowed behind me, warm, distant, and hollow. For years, I had driven home from that house feeling smaller than when I arrived. But not this time. This time, I left knowing exactly who I was and exactly what I'd stopped needing. 2 weeks after the dinner, I stopped expecting peace. The silence that followed wasn't calm. It was loaded. The kind that hides storms behind polite pauses. At work, life kept accelerating. Our AI analytics platform was preparing for a public launch. My team was leading integration with 3 enterprise clients. Late nights, constant calls, the kind of pressure I'd dreamed about back in college. I was finally living the life I'd fought for. Then one Monday morning, Patricia stopped by my office. Her expression was unreadable. "Ashley, can you step into the conference room for a minute?" Inside sat Diane, the same pharmaceutical CTO who'd praised me months ago, and our VP of operations. My stomach tightened. "We received an unusual outreach," Diane said. "Someone claiming to represent your family contacted me directly about collaboration opportunities. They mentioned your name quite a few times." My heart sank. "What kind of outreach?" I asked carefully. The VP slid a printed email across the table. Subject: Partnership Proposal. Veronica Reed, Marketing Consultant. "Dear Cloud Tech Team, I'm reaching out regarding potential collaboration. My sister, Ashley Reed, Director of Enterprise Implementation, believes our data marketing tools could integrate perfectly with your AI division." I didn't finish reading. My pulse was hammering. "She used my name?" I asked. Patricia nodded slowly. "Without your consent, it seems." I felt the heat rising in my face, embarrassment, anger, disbelief all at once. "I had dinner with them 2 weeks ago," I said quietly. "They mentioned something like this. I told them not to." Diane was kind but firm. "We know this wasn't you, but for clarity, we'll need you to issue a short statement confirming no personal or family partnerships, just protocol." I nodded. "Of course." When the meeting ended, I closed my office door and sat there, staring at my hands. It wasn't just a mistake. It was sabotage cloaked as family ambition. I thought of my mother's smile at dinner. Her words, "It's such a small thing for you." They'd gone behind my back anyway. That evening, I called home. Mom answered on the second ring. "Ashley, how's work? Why did you let Veronica contact my company?" There was a pause. Then that familiar, defensive sigh. "Oh, come on. She just sent an email. What's the harm? It's business." "It's my reputation," I said sharply. "She used my name. That's unethical." "Unethical?" she repeated, like the word offended her. "Ashley, you're overreacting. She's just trying to make connections. You should be proud she looks up to you." "That's not looking up to me, Mom. That's using me." Her voice hardened. You've changed. All this success, it's made you arrogant. We raised you better than this. I laughed quietly, the kind of laugh that breaks instead of comforts. No, I said. You raised me to believe love was something I had to earn. I'm just done playing that game. Don't speak to me like that, she snapped. Then stop treating me like a stranger who owes you something. Click. She hung up first. The fallout was quick but clean. I drafted a professional statement for CloudTech's legal team, clarifying I had no family-linked business interests. It went unnoticed by most, but not by my parents. 2 days later, I got a text from Veronica. You made Mom cry. Are you happy now? I stared at it for a long time, then deleted it. No reply. No explanation. No apology. Just silence again. But this time, it didn't hurt. It just confirmed what I already knew. The version of family I'd been trying to save didn't exist anymore. I wasn't the outcast anymore. I was the boundary. And that boundary was finally holding. It happened on a Tuesday. A normal, busy, completely unremarkable Tuesday. I was mid-presentation in the CloudTech conference room running through deployment metrics for a new client integration when Patricia's assistant stepped in quietly. Ashley, she whispered. There's someone waiting for you in the lobby. I frowned. Who? She hesitated. They said, family. For a moment, the word didn't register. Then my stomach dropped. I excused myself and walked toward the glass elevators, my reflection shifting with every floor I passed. When the doors opened into the lobby, I saw them immediately. My parents, standing in the middle of the marble floor like they were visiting another planet. Mom's hands clasped nervously around her purse. Dad's face stiff, unreadable. My chest tightened. They hadn't been here before, not when I'd first joined the company, not for the promotion. Only now, after the email fiasco and the fallout. I walked toward them, keeping my voice steady. What are you doing here? Mom smiled, too brightly. We were in the area and thought we'd stop by. We wanted to see where you work and maybe talk. You were in the area, I repeated. In downtown Chicago, on a Tuesday morning. She flinched slightly. We just want to fix things, Ashley. The family's been so tense lately. Your sister feels awful. Does she? I asked quietly. Dad cleared his throat. Let's not do this here. You're at work. Can't we go somewhere private? I glanced toward the reception desk, where 2 interns were pretending not to listen. I exhaled slowly. Fine. 10 minutes. Conference room C. They followed me upstairs, their footsteps echoing in the quiet hallway. When the door closed behind us, Mom immediately started. We didn't mean to cause trouble. Veronica didn't realize it would affect your job like that. She wrote that I supported her proposal, I said. That's not a misunderstanding, that's a lie. Oh, for heaven's sake, Dad said, exasperated. It was an email, Ashley. You act like she hacked your company. You don't get it, I said, my voice shaking not with anger, but restraint. I built my reputation here, from scratch, without anyone's help. That name you used, my name, is the only thing I've ever had to prove myself with. And you tried to use it like a key. Mom's expression softened, almost regretful. We just wanted to be part of your world. You've shut us out completely. That word part stung. Because for years, I had begged for them to be part of mine. They had just never wanted the version that didn't serve them. I met her eyes. You wanted access, not connection. She blinked, hurt flickering for a moment before pride took over. We didn't come here to fight. We came to make peace. Then stop crossing my boundaries. Silence. Dad finally spoke. You think you're too good for this family now? No, I said softly. I think I finally understand what kind of love I deserve. Mom's lips parted like she wanted to argue, but nothing came out. The clock on the wall ticked louder than it should have. 10 minutes had passed. I have to get back to work, I said. Security will escort you out. Ashley. Mom, please. I don't hate you, but I can't keep being your convenience. Her face crumpled. Just slightly a flash of emotion she quickly buried. We just miss you, she whispered. I smiled faintly, eyes burning. Then try missing me without trying to own me. I didn't cry until they were gone. Patricia found me later in the hallway, standing by the window, looking down at the city. "Family?" she asked gently. "Yeah," I said. "They visited." "How'd it go?" I finally told them the truth. "And?" I smiled, tired but lighter than I'd felt in years. "It hurt, but it didn't break me." Patricia nodded. "That's what boundaries do. They don't protect you from pain, they protect you from repetition." Her words stayed with me long after she walked away. That night, when I got home, I stood on my balcony, watching the city lights flicker in the distance, the life I had built glowing quietly below me. And for the first time, I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. Not defeated. Not bitter. Just done giving people who never saw my worth the power to define it. The storm broke on a Friday. I was halfway through a project briefing when Patricia's assistant rushed in, eyes wide. "Ashley, you need to see this." She handed me her phone. My name was trending on LinkedIn. At first, I didn't understand until I saw the post. Veronica Hill, communications specialist. Grateful for my sister Ashley's support and mentorship throughout my cloud tech proposal journey. Attached was a document, our confidential client migration outline, with my initials still visible in the metadata. I went cold. Not angry. Not shocked. Just numb. This wasn't some misunderstanding. It was corporate theft. And she had posted it publicly, attaching my name to leaked intellectual property. Within minutes, my inbox exploded. Compliance. Legal. Internal security. Patricia. I left the meeting room on autopilot, walking straight to her office. She looked up as soon as I entered, calm, but her eyes told me she'd already read everything. "Close the door," she said quietly. I did. "Ashley, we know you didn't leak the file. The timestamps, the access logs, everything clears you. But this is serious. Legal's already involved." "I know who did it," I said. My voice didn't shake. "My sister." Patricia nodded slowly, almost sadly. "I figured as much." She turned her monitor toward me, showing an email chain between Veronica and one of the client vendors, using her personal Gmail, trying to pitch her consulting expertise based on my company's proprietary work. Patricia sighed. "We're issuing a cease and desist, and it's likely this goes public. You should prepare yourself." I nodded. No tears, no panic, just the sharp, quiet ache of disappointment, the kind that burns deeper than rage. By Monday, the news had broken. Cloud Tech employees' family member leaks proprietary data. Every headline twisted the story, but my name was always there, even if cleared of wrongdoing. And suddenly, my family's silence shattered. Mom called first. "Ashley, you have to fix this. Veronica's being harassed online. She broke the law, Mom." She didn't mean to, she just wanted to prove herself. I almost laughed. "By impersonating me?" "You're overreacting," she snapped. "This could ruin her career." "She ruined her own career," I said. "I'm done cleaning up her mess." The call ended with tears. Hers, not mine. Cloud Tech stood by me. Legal cleared my name publicly. The CEO even released a statement praising my professionalism under pressure. But the damage to my family's reputation and their dynamic was irreversible. Dad emailed me a few days later. No greeting, no warmth. Just, "You could have handled this privately. She's your sister." I stared at the message for a long time, then deleted it. That Friday, Patricia called me into her office again. "You okay?" "Honestly, I don't know." "You did the right thing," she said. "You didn't retaliate. You didn't hide. You just told the truth. That matters." I nodded, but it didn't feel like victory. It felt like survival. That weekend, the company hosted a networking gala, a high-profile event at a downtown hotel. Patricia insisted I go, to show face, as she put it. The ballroom shimmered with glass and gold. Executives, investors, clients, all in one room. I made polite conversation, smiled when required, held my champagne glass steady. Then Diane, the CTO who had praised me months ago, found me near the terrace. "Ashley," she said warmly, "you handled that scandal with remarkable composure. Most people would have fallen apart." "Thank you," I said softly. "I had practiced pretending I was fine." She tilted her head. "You shouldn't have to pretend anymore." We clinked glasses. For a moment, I looked around the room, the laughter, the music, the city lights beyond the glass, and realized this was the life I'd fought for. Built by resilience, not by approval, not by borrowed names or forced loyalty. And across the ballroom, my reflection caught in the mirror. Confident, calm, untethered. The woman who used to crave validation was gone. The woman who remained didn't need it. The next morning, I woke to a single text from my mom. "We saw the news. We're sorry for everything." I stared at it, unreadable emotion tightening my chest. Then I typed back just one line. "Thank you. I hope Veronica learns from this." And I meant it. Not cruelly, not triumphantly, just truthfully. Because revenge wasn't winning. Revenge was peace. And I had finally found mine. Autumn came early that year. The air carried that crisp smell of change, of something ending and something else quietly beginning. I hadn't planned to go back. But one Saturday morning, I found myself driving toward the old neighborhood, the same streets where I used to walk to school with my backpack bouncing, where my parents' front porch light always burned late into the night. The house looked smaller now. Same white shutters, same flower boxes, same mailbox with Hill half faded on the side. Only this time, I wasn't walking up as a daughter seeking approval. I was walking up as someone who no longer needed it. Mom answered the door. For a second, she just stared, like she wasn't sure I was real. Then she smiled, a little awkwardly. "Ashley, you look different." "I feel different," I said. We sat in the kitchen, the same place where she'd once told me Veronica's piano lessons were more important than my coding club, because music is feminine. Now, the room felt frozen in time, like even the clock was afraid to tick too loudly. Dad joined us after a few minutes. He nodded politely, then busied himself with coffee. Veronica wasn't there. I didn't ask. Mom fidgeted with her hands. "We've been meaning to talk. About everything." I nodded, letting her take her time. "We shouldn't have treated you the way we did. You were always the strong one, and I think we used that as an excuse to ignore how much we hurt you." Her voice trembled. "When the whole company thing happened, we were ashamed. Not of you, of ourselves. You handled it better than any of us could have. For years, I had imagined this moment, what I'd say, how it would feel. But sitting there, I realized I didn't need to say much. The silence between us said everything. "Thank you," I said quietly. "That means more than you know." Dad finally looked up. "Veronica's been struggling. She's getting help. We're trying to be there for her." I nodded again. "I hope she finds her path." And I meant it. Because I no longer needed her to lose for me to feel whole. An hour later, I stood outside again, the wind brushing against my coat. The neighborhood felt both familiar and foreign, like visiting a version of yourself that no longer exists. As I reached my car, Mom stepped onto the porch. "Ashley." I turned. "We're proud of you," she said. Truly. For the first time, I believed her. Not because she said it, but because I didn't need it.